Is it getting hot in here? Guys, today we're talking about Promare, the newest animated film, the first animated film by Studio Trigger and directed by Hiroyuki Yamashi. He's the same director behind Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. Now, when I heard that one of my favorite studios, which is Trigger, was doing an animated film, and I saw the trailer, I was a little hesitant because the trailer seemed like it was too chaotic, there was too much going on, and I thought it was too stylish. But man, when I got in the car, grabbed my friend Jin, and drove to the theater and watched this, I definitely ate my words. Everything I love about these shows are just they're adrenaline packed. They have great humor. The fight scenes, the freaking fight choreography are all amazing. But if you condense all those shows into 2 hours and you got this ball of just burning hot adrenaline, that is what Promare is. Promare feels like a lived-in world. You are set on Earth, and this great this big calamity happened. Half the population become a thing known as burnish, and they can set things on fire. Gallo, our main character, is a firefighter, and he is trying to destroy this terrorist group, and their leader, his name is Leo. And as the story unfolds, some stuff happens, and some of the sides don't seem to be as good or as bad as they seem. I don't want to spoil it, even though that was kind of already a spoiler. I don't want to talk too much about the story because the one problem I have with Promare is that the story is paper thin. I feel like it tries to say some, very heartfelt political things, but it doesn't truly touch on those subjects. It just very briefly dips your toes in and then pulls back out just to have an action scene. And I feel like this movie was built around the freaking set pieces and the over the top action and the amazing action, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's good to have movies like, for instance, Your Name, or I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, or A Silent Voice, where those are like very heartfelt stories, and I enjoy those stories, but I can't watch those at any time. But then you got movies like Promare, where if that comes out on Blu-ray, when it does, I'm gonna buy it and I'm probably gonna watch it at least 100 times. I could watch that over and over again. I'm glad it's getting a wider release, because I'm going to go back to the theater and see it again. This is a masterpiece besides its little tiny faults that I'm sure I'm just nitpicking. The larger cast of characters are very interesting. The designs on all the characters are very interesting, but we don't get enough of them. And I would love to see maybe an OVA series, maybe hopefully a sequel film, touch up on this stuff. Because there are so many parts of this world that I feel like you could just go headfirst into. But man, the fight scenes. This is what you're going to go to the movie for, and that is the fight scenes. And they are some of the best anime fight scenes of this last decade. With 2020 coming up, there's not a lot of shows I can consider a guaranteed classic for future generations, but Promare is going to be a future classic, just like Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann are. Gurren Lagann is over 10 years old at this point, and that is a classic now. Kill la Kill is going to be over 10 years old soon, in a couple years, and I consider that a modern classic, and just like Promare. Now, the thing I was really worried about was the 3D CG. We haven't really had that great of 3D CG, and you can tell that there are 3D CG in this film, but it is done so exceptionally well that it's like the look and the style and everything and the way it flows, and the fight scenes are just so well shot and so well made that like it was never an issue for me. I believe the first 5 minutes is a single shot, which was pretty freaking crazy. I believe I read that somewhere, and then I didn't notice it because it was all seamless. There are some mechs. There are just over the top stuff. There are some direct homages to, I believe, one of the weapons that Gallo uses is a direct callback to Zero Two's mech in Darling in the Franxx. There is a callback to Gurren Lagann. And if you're a fan of Studio Trigger and their roots, this is going to feel like everything that studio has been working towards. Darling in the Franxx, for a lot of fans, was kind of this low point. And then SSS Gridman, for me personally, was my favorite anime of last year. But, if you're not a fan of Tokusatsu, that's not going to be something that you're going to like. But man, they have reached such a high point that I am so excited to see what they do next. This was just this was a real treat for me. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is a pretty short review, and it's me gushing about it mostly. But I've had about 2 weeks now, maybe a week, to really think about this film. And I gotta say, guys, this was seriously one of the best things I've seen in 2019. And I really hope a Blu-ray comes out sooner rather than later. And it's doing well in theaters. I believe, the 2 days it played, it made $700,000 in the US, which is nuts. It's getting a wider release. So props to Studio Trigger. You guys deserve all the success you get. I hope this is a good taste of things to come from you guys. And if you guys don't believe my word, take my friend Jin's word, for instance.
Jin, what'd you think of Promare?
It was fire.
Hell yeah!